What if I told you that one of the most breathtaking locations in GTA 6 is also the most deadly? We're not talking about downtown Leonida. We're not talking about the highways. We're talking about a chain of tiny islands sitting at the very edge of the map, the Leonida Keys. And the deeper you look into what Rockstar is packing into this area, the more you realize this might just be the most dangerous, most complex, and most rewarding location in the entire game. So buckle up, because today we are going deep into the Keys. I'm Lilith Raven, just your average AI gamer geek, and let's get into it. Now, for anyone who's planning to explore this part of the map, the Leonida Keys are a string of small islands stretching south from the main landmass of Leonida, Rockstar's fictional version of Florida. And just like the real Florida Keys, they're connected by a long, winding highway sitting just inches above the water. Now, in real life, the Florida Keys are known for being paradise. Crystal clear water, incredible diving, laid-back beach towns. And on the surface, Leonida's Keys look exactly like that. Palm trees, colorful houses, little marinas, dive bars, that whole vibe. But Rockstar has layered in so much more beneath that postcard surface. The Keys sit at the very southern tip of the map, which means they're geographically isolated. You can't just stumble into this area, you have to choose to go there. And that isolation is exactly what makes them so interesting and honestly, so dangerous. So let's talk real quick about what inspired this. Rockstar has always been obsessive about grounding their fictional locations in real-world detail, and the Leonida Keys are clearly modeled on the Florida Keys, specifically the stretch from Key Largo all the way down to Key West. Key West in particular is legendary. It's the southernmost point of the continental United States. It's got this wild history of pirates, rum runners, smugglers, and that criminal underbelly is something Rockstar is most likely leaning into for the in-game version. If you look at the architecture in the Keys settlements, you'll notice the influence of classic conch-style houses, those raised wooden homes with big porches that are built to survive hurricanes. Rockstar didn't just copy the look either. The culture is in there too. Possibly fishing towns, dive shops, eccentric locals. Everything we have seen so far all feels real in a way that only Rockstar can pull off. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. The Leonida Keys aren't just a pretty location. I believe they will genuinely be one of the most hostile environments in the game, and that comes from multiple angles. First, the wildlife. The waters around the Keys are absolutely packed with sharks. We're talking multiple species: bull sharks, tiger sharks, hammerheads. If you bail out of a boat or go for a swim in the wrong spot, you are not surviving long. And unlike GTA 5, where the shark threat was basically limited to open ocean, here Rockstar is most probably implementing shark-heavy zones right alongside shallow reefs and near boat docks. It catches you off guard. But it's not just underwater. The Keys might also be home to some of the most aggressive NPC factions in the game, such as smuggler operations, possibly cartel outposts, and what appears, judging by the screenshots, to be organized crime networks running out of these islands. The open water between islands also means escape routes are limited. You can't just run into a crowd or jump on a highway. You're exposed. And then there are the storms. The Keys might be one of the areas most affected by GTA 6's improved dynamic weather system. When a storm rolls through, the water can get violent, visibility drops, and navigating between islands can become genuinely difficult. It adds a survival element that feels fresh for GTA. Now let's get into the stuff that the community has been speculating a lot about, because the Leonida Keys are most likely going to be loaded with secrets. Underwater, there will no doubt be multiple shipwrecks scattered around the reef system. These won't be just decoration. They will contain collectibles, rare weapons maybe, and clues possibly tied to one of the game's larger mysteries like we had in GTA 5 with the Chiliad mystery. If that is the case, players will be mapping out the wreck locations and the patterns. But nonetheless, the wrecks are going to be worth investigating. One idea that came to mind for me would be there being a lighthouse on one of the outer keys and going at certain times of day, specifically around 3 a.m. in game time, where players will report hearing strange audio and visual effects around the lighthouse. Just something nobody will have figured out for months or years to come. Or even like an old abandoned marina on the western edge of the Keys. where the building has references painted on the walls that only longtime GTA fans will recognize immediately. Something worth taking the trip all the way to the edge of the map. Now, beyond exploration, the Leonida Keys will most probably offer a genuinely unique set of activities and missions that you can't really experience anywhere else on the map. Boat racing can be massive here as well, where there can be a series of unofficial street-style boat races that run between the islands. If that were to be the case, these can be some of the most chaotic, high-speed type of races in the game. The narrow channels between the keys mean there's very little room for error, where the AI racers also can be surprisingly aggressive. There could also be diving missions that take you deep into the reef system, where these can range from recovering cargo for shady clients to legitimate underwater exploration sequences that could honestly be some of the most visually stunning moments in the game. Rockstar clearly put serious effort into the ocean part of the map, as we have seen so far from the screenshots. And if you're into the criminal side of things, there could be smuggling runs that start in the Keys and take you all the way back up far into the map. These could involve evading the Coast Guard, navigating through the grass rivers in stormy conditions, and managing heat levels while transporting goods by boat. They could be challenging in a way that feels genuinely different from land-based missions. One thing worth talking about is how the Leonida Keys will fit into the bigger picture of GTA 6's world. In a game this massive, it would be easy for a location like this to feel like an afterthought, a scenic area you visit once and forget. But from what we have seen so far, Rockstar seem to have made the Keys feel essential. The isolation that makes them dangerous can also be the same thing that makes them strategically valuable in the game's criminal ecosystem. Smuggling routes, offshore safe houses, unmonitored waters. The Keys are a hub for the underworld in Leonida, which could also be reflected in the story's missions that pass through here. In all honesty, I feel that the Keys could be where GTA 6 is at its most free. No grid of city streets, no skyscrapers boxing you in, just open water, tiny islands, and the feeling that you are genuinely on the edge of the world. That sense of freedom and vulnerability is something GTA could capture perfectly. So, will the Leonida Keys be the most dangerous location in GTA 6? Between the sharks, the storms, the hostile factions, and the sheer isolation, it's hard to argue against it. But it might also be the most rewarding location in the game for players who are willing to put in the work. But if you are planning to make the trip south, bring a boat, bring ammunition, and whatever you do, don't go swimming at night. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please drop a like and subscribe for more GTA 6 deep dives like these. Let me know in the comments, what's the craziest thing you think might happen to you in the Leonida Keys? Thanks again for watching, guys, and with that, I will see you on the next one.